Hey there, my friends. This is Bill McDonald, the Math Doctor. Today I'm going to be doing a problem for the 4th grade teachers and students. This came from question number 28 on the 2017 test. It had a state percent correct of 44%, pretty low. And it was reporting category 2, a readiness standard, and it was student expectation 4.4H. Alright. For those of you that aren't familiar, I start off every problem by writing my rules acronym on the left-hand side. Basically, in a nutshell, the R is for reading the question, then the problem. The U is for understanding and underlining anything in the question, the meat of the problem that will help us. The L is for labeling anything in the problem that will help us with the question. The E is for beginning to evaluate all of the strategies that we learned for the year, then executing a plan based on the one that we think is going to help us solve them, little by little, eliminating and explaining the wrong answers, selecting the correct answer, while of course S showing our work, searching for errors, and then bubbling in the Scantron. All great things that will help your kids to be more structured and organized. Alright, so we're going to start with a question which happens to be where the word if is there. If the school tried to divide the total number of teachers and students on 3 buses as equally as possible, which statement, including all of the people, would be true? Okay, so the keywords that we bracketed, we labeled. To divide the total number of teachers and students. That means they want to include everybody on this problem. They're going to be placed on 3 buses. And as equally as possible, that means the numbers have to be as close to each other on the buses in population as possible. Which statement, including all of the people, would be true. So we can't leave anybody out. Okay, so I've drawn some buses. And as you can see, I've kind of done the work already. So let's go ahead and work our way back to how I got there. It says the 3rd through 5th grade from Idea Brownsville, and because I was working with these guys this past Saturday, I went ahead and used their name in my problem. They had a total of 352 students and 34 teachers. Once again, we had an opening bracket in front of the number and the closing bracket after the keyword that goes with it. Who were going on a special field trip to reward them since everyone passed the STAR test. I know that's kind of fantastical, but this school does really well all the time, so their next goal was not just to get 90 like they did in reading, writing, math, and science. Their goal is to get 95 to 100. The school requested 3 large charter buses for the trip. And then we have the question again, so we'll read it one more time. The school tried to divide the total number of teachers and students on the 3 buses as equally as possible, which statement would be true? Okay, so first of all, we've got to find out how many total people are being placed on the bus. So our 2 labels that we need are 352 and 34. So over here in my workout space, 352 students plus 34 teachers equals 386 people. Alright, since they're being divided equally into 3 buses, the next step is to write your dividend, the 386 in the division box, and the 3 will be the divisor. And one by one we'll try to work on our numbers to get to the quotient. So we're going to multiply, and for those of you that are not familiar, I have what I call another acronym to help with the steps of division, to help kids who struggle with concepts that are pretty multi-step in their structure. So the M of MASRED stands for multiply until you find an answer that gets to the product that you're looking for or lower. Then you'll subtract. Once you subtract, you'll find your remainder, RE, and you'll decide if you need to drop or if you're done. Okay, so we multiplied 3 times 1 first. as you see here. The M for multiply is on the top, and the A for answer is on the bottom. We multiplied 3 times 0, and it made 0, so I make my kids keep going until they get to the number or higher. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. Since 3 is the one that actually makes it, we'll put the 1 and the 3 for what you multiplied. Put the 3 on the bottom, the answer, the product. When we subtract the S of MASRED, you get a remainder of 0. So you've got to decide to drop or done. We will drop the 8, then we'll multiply again now. I did what many of you tell your kids to do, to draw a new division box, because our new number that we're trying to make is just 8 right now. So our next thing that we multiply, we're going to look at the multiples of 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. Once you pass the number you're looking for, you go to the previous one. So the number that's on the top is 2, so we put it on the top. The answer, we put it on the bottom. The S for MASRED is to subtract. When you subtract 6 from 8, it gives you a remainder of 2. And you got to drop or be done. And we once again have a number to drop, so we'll drop the 6, make our new dividend box. So we'll be multiplying by 3s until we get to 26. I skipped a few steps and went to the 6s with the 3s. 6 times 3 is 18. 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 8 is 24. 3 times 9 is 27. Since the 27 did pass the number we were looking for, 26, we go with the one that was previous, either equal to or before it. So what we multiplied goes on top, the 8. The answer of it, the product, goes on the bottom, the 24. So the 8's on the top, the 24 is on the bottom. We subtract to find a remainder of 2. And once again, we decide, do I drop? No, because there's nothing left to drop. So that means that we're done. So that means if you divide 386 people equally between 3 buses, you'll have 128 on all 3 buses, and then 2 left over to do something with. So I would suggest you have your kids draw a picture of that. There is 128, 128, 128 people on 3 buses, and then what you have to do is put the remaining people on a bus, because it said you had to use everybody. So that means one of the buses would have 128, and the other 2, because of the remainder, would have 129. So that's what we have to look for in the answer choices. Letter A says there would be 128 people on one bus and 129 in each of the other 2 buses. And that is true, so we'll put a question mark right there. I don't let my kids cross off anything until they're sure. There would be 128 people in each bus. No, because of the remainder, that makes that not true. So the 128 is not true. There would be 129 people in one bus and 128 in each of the 2 other buses. And if they would have switched those numbers around like we have on letter A, that would have been true. So these 2 numbers being reversed makes letter C incorrect. There would be 129 people on each bus. If you did that, that means you would be adding an extra person, which would have been in that bus right there. And it said you're only supposed to be using the amount of people that are actually at the school, the 386, and that would have made it 387. So there you have it. Using MASRED, drawing pictures, and using the acronym rules to help you solve the problem. So we are going to select letter A, and we can now eliminate letters B, C, and D. Since I've eliminated 3, I will place a check mark 3 times next to the E for eliminate your wrong answers, and we've explained to you why. We did select 1 answer in the booklet, but just so that I can practice bubbling scantrons, I'm going to write an A right on the outside. I'm going to pretend to bubble in the letter that I chose, so I can pretend like I actually have a Scantron there. So that's what your rules acronym would look like if your kids followed that step faithfully. Thank you guys, and God bless.